Good afternoon, Facebook Live. It is Peggy Hubbard, here to give you an installation of Straight Talk. And today's topic is, let's talk about reparations in the atonement of white America. And I'm going to wait until I get a couple of people on here, and then we're going to get started. And I'm going to give you my take on reparations. So, okay, I got over 100 people. We're going to get started. And here it is in a nutshell. With what's going on in the black community right now, with the death of George Floyd, there was a lot of chatter on social media, and I saw something on my friend's page, Terrence Williams, on his page, where white folks were actually on their knees begging black Americans to forgive them for being white. And here is my take. You have got to be stupid, simple-minded, dumb, ignorant individuals to get down on your knees and ask for forgiveness for something you did not do. You have got to be kidding me, America. That these people, white folks, with these protesters that are going on, are on their knees asking for forgiveness for being white. I am appalled and I am outraged by this. I was not born a slave. I was born free. My mother was not born a slave, nor my father. My grandmother was not born a slave. My great-grandmother was born at the end of the Civil War. They were free. They were emancipated. Now, her family of my great-great-grandmother, their family were slaves. They were held in captivity. But let's put it where it really, really is as black people. If you're asking for reparations, you need to ask for those reparations from the DNC, the Democratic National Convention, or whatever they committee, the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, whatever you want to call them. You need to ask for reparations from the Democratic Party. It was the Democratic Party that held us in captivity. It was the Democratic Party that voted against us being able to allow to cast a vote. It was a Democratic Party that burned. It was a Democratic Party that lynched our ancestors in the trees. It was the Democratic. If you want to get reparations, then you give them the bill for reparations, because it was because of their actions towards black Americans that caused our suffering. We're still suffering right now due to the Democratic leadership. Every city right now in this country that is under siege because of the Democratic Party and their failed policies. White folks that are here now and present, hear me and hear me well. You have nothing to apologize for. You did not hold us in captivity. I was not a slave, and I will not give in to this victimization BS. I am not a victim. Everything I've gotten, everything I've earned, I worked hard for. I worked hard for my home and everything that's in it and everything I own, from the house to my truck, to my RV, to my motorcycles, to my vacation. I earned that. Nobody gave me anything. And for white folks to get down on their knees and beg for forgiveness for being white, that is an insult. I don't call myself an African American. And people say because you don't call yourself as an African American, you're self-hating. No, let me tell you something. I've been in the Navy for 13 and a half years. Served my country proudly. I got a chance to go to Africa. And when I touched down on the motherland, I was beside myself. Oh my God, I am in Africa. I am in my motherland. The woman got so offended. A black African was so offended. She said, no, 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 honey. No, no, no. You're not an African American. You're an American. We as black Americans use that mantra as a dog whistle politics to remind me that I was oppressed, to remind me that I am being systematically abused by the white man. So we slap net labels on us to remind us that we're inferior. My God, we had a black president. We had a black chief justice, and we still got a black chief justice. We had black astronauts, black heart surgeons, black brain surgeons, black entrepreneurs. Where's the oppression? If you act a fool, they're going to treat you as such. If you act like the animals that are running around in the city of St. Louis, in Chicago, in LA, in Memphis, in New York, in Texas, in Florida, if you're acting a fool, this is the perception you're giving them, Black America, that we cannot control ourselves. And then we talk about how Black Lives Matter. I watched on a live feed of my friend, David Dorn, that I've known for over 30 years, broadcast his death. And we have the nerve to fix our mouth and say Black Lives Matter when 82 black men were shot in Chicago last weekend. 19 dead. 20 black men shot in St. Louis. 6 dead. One of those shot was a 4-year-old child. But there's no protest. There's no outrage. And you want reparations. Should come from the Democratic Party, because they are the ones that held us in captivity. They are the ones that hung us from trees. They are the ones that blew up our churches. They are the ones that burned up our schools. They are the ones that raped our women. They are the ones that ran my grandfather out of Tupelo, Mississippi as a black pastor because he was getting too uppity, fighting for civil rights back in the 1930s and 40s. They ran him out of Mississippi and he ran to East St. Louis and established his church. And which, by the way, my grandfather, Garfield Hubbard Sr., was one of, from what I understand from my family history, he was actually one of the advisors to Martin Luther King. My grandfather told me a long time ago, don't trust Jesse Jackson and don't trust Al Sharpton. They are sheep in wolves. They are wolves in sheep clothing. Don't trust them. They cannot be trusted. They are not honorable men. He said this about them then. And as a Democrat, I ignored it until Ferguson. If you were a Democrat, you can buy as many slaves as you wanted to. But as a Republican, Republicans didn't buy slaves. Republicans freed slaves. Republicans fought for the Emancipation Act. And one of the biggest slave owners in the South was not a not a white man. The biggest slave owner in the South was a black man. He had the biggest plantation there was in Louisiana that would rival all plantations. There were black slave owners in the North and in the South. And believe it or not, those black slave owners were so brutal to those black slaves that those black slaves other white plantations just to get away from the brutality of those slave owners. But see, they don't tell us this about black history. They ignore this. They hide this. I didn't find out any of this until I got woke, until I walked away. I didn't know any of this in high school, in grade school. I did not know that Dr. King was a Republican. I did not know that Dr. King said the Democratic Party could not be trusted because they were low in treachery. I did not know this. They hid this from us. I had to seek out the truth for myself. Booker T. Washington, W.E.B. Du Bois, Frederick Douglass, Scott Joplin, Dred Scott, Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman. All of these were Republicans. So when did the dynamics shift for us blacks? When did it actually turn for us? What actually happened? I'll tell you what happened. They gave us welfare. They took the black man out of the home and they replaced it with the government. That is what they did. They gave us the Great Society. Lyndon B. Johnson said this: I am going to make those niggers vote Democratic for the next 200 years. And he systematically, in one swell swoop, one pen, signing his name to the Great Society, giving us welfare, removing the black man from the house, and from there, systematically, the black community. He actually neutered the black man. That is what happened to us. And when we got welfare, the checks came in and the black man went out. They made it. They rigged the system for us to fail. The Democratic Party rigged the system for black America to fail. Rigged the system. Neutered us. Silenced us with a check. Monthly check. My mama, Teresa Lee, God love her. My mama left my father. He was very, very abusive. My mama raised 8 children in the ghetto in North St. Louis, right off Goodfellow, street called Vernon. Projects. My mama was a nurse at Homer G. Phillips Hospital, St. Anne Hospital, and Lindell Hospital. My mama, and I asked her this, Mama, you had 8 kids. You worked multiple jobs to take care of us. Why didn't you go down and sign up for welfare? She said, baby, it's a trap. It is a trap to keep us complacent and down on their plantation. I did not understand what this woman was putting in my head. I didn't understand the gravity of what she was saying to me. My mama refused welfare. My mama didn't own a car until she was 46 years old. She walked to work every day. The woman had maybe 2 days off a month, taking care of 8 kids with my grandmother. My mama did that. Never took welfare. She said it was a trap. And she's absolutely right. You want reparations? You need to start with the Democratic Party, because it was them that systematically put us back in chains, mentally and emotionally. They did that to us. But I'm one of the lucky ones that actually looked at it, researched it, and sought out knowledge to see where it actually all began. And it began with the Democratic Party. They are the ones you should be asking reparations from. They are the ones that bought and sold us. They are the ones that raped our black women. They are the ones. And you want to know how low down the Democratic Party is? Former President Bill Clinton has a black son that he refuses to acknowledge. It's like Thomas Jefferson all over again. His name is Danny Williams. But yet, I'm bad for pointing that out. I am bad for that. You look at Bill Clinton as a savior, as he's some kind of God walking amongst us. That man is about as dirty as they come. And I didn't realize how bad it was until I got my little black ass off the Democratic plantation and walked away. You want reparations, and you want to scream out Black Lives Matter, when black men are being murdered by other black men, but you ignore that because they weren't killed by a white man. If they're killed by a white man, then you want to get all hell bent. But black men kill another black man, collateral damage. Children being murdered, collateral damage. Streaming a black man's death on social media for his wife to see. Outrageous. Outrageous. But because he chose the occupation of law enforcement, his black life is voided. His black life doesn't matter. His black life means nothing. But you want to beat your chest and ask for reparations. You better start with the Democratic Party, because they are the ones that destroy the black community. They are the ones that have you living in poverty. They are the ones that have you living in their slums, in their failed community, and their failed school systems. They are the ones that systematically incarcerated all of our black men, calling us super predators. That is what Hillary Clinton referred to us as black men. Our black men are super predators. We're super predators to them. But yet, you guys happily ignore that. That they can treat us any kind of way as black Americans, and we come back for more, just like an abused woman, afraid to leave and step out on faith. We stay back and take the abuse over and over and over and over again. And then we hold our hands out and say, Massa, can you give us some? Massa, can you help us? Help yourselves. Burning down your community is not going to bring back George Floyd. Help yourselves. Look at the Democratic Party for what they are. They were slave owners then, and now they're your modern day slave owners now. And you're sitting up here shucking and a-jiving, toting that bale, lifting that bar, afraid to step out from the Democratic plantation. And y'all call me brainwashed? Oh no, baby, I'm woke. I'm more than woke. I'm angry. I am angry. Calling me an Uncle Tom, and you don't even know what Uncle Tom and who he was. Uncle Tom freed slaves. Uncle Tom led thousands to Canada, thousands to the north. So if you want to call me an Uncle Tom, call me that, because Uncle Tom was an emancipator. Uncle Tom freed slaves, not only physically freed them, but he mentally freed them. I take that as a compliment when you call me an Uncle Tom. I take it as a great honor, because that's what he really did. You want to sit up and throw arguments at me and insults at me, and you don't even know the meaning behind those insults. As if. You want reparations? Then look no farther to the Democratic Party. They are the ones that held us and still holding us today. And we're running out there as black folks, losing our minds, tearing up our community, and that's precisely what they want. You are doing their bidding while they are sitting back in their mansions, on their plantations, laughing at all of us, acting a damn fool, tearing up our own communities, victimizing other black men, victimizing black-owned businesses. And you wonder why white folks lock their doors when they drive through our neighborhoods. I don't have to talk bad about you, and I don't want to, but you leave me no choice. Every time I turn on the news, it's somebody, one of us, acting a fool. Well, white folks are out there looting too. But guess what? The only ones they're showing is us. We're the only ones they are broadcasting on the 5 o'clock news. They're not showing the white looters. They're showing the black looters. And they're feeding that perception that we're nothing but a bunch of pack animals. And y'all don't pick up on that. And it doesn't register with you because you're too blind getting justice for George Floyd. This is not justice for George Floyd. I want justice for David Dorn. That's who I want justice for. I want justice for my friend, Captain David Dorn. Filmed his death on live stream Facebook for his family to watch his final moments, beg and die. That's who I want justice for. That's who I grieve for. That's who I'm angry about. 35 years in law enforcement, giving his life and his all for the city of St. Louis. In his final moments, he's on the ground, bleeding out, begging for his life, and y'all laughing at him. And you want to tell me Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter can kiss my ass. You're George Floyd was trying to pass counterfeit money. David Dorn was trying to stop somebody from stealing out of a pawn shop and trying to get weapons. And he died trying. Police brutality, black brutality. 82 black men shot, black brutality. 19 of those dead, black brutality. But we hold our hands out and we ask for reparations. We hold our hands out and say that we're being mistreated as black people, when we're not even treating our own black people with compassion. We're not treating our own black people with love and understanding. We take their lives. It doesn't matter because they're killed by another black man. And you hold your hands out and ask for reparations. Ask it from the Democratic Party, because those are your slave masters. Those are the ones that are systematically abusing you. Those are the ones that are actually holding you back in captivity. Mental captivity is what I call it. I broke my chains. I lightened my load. I ran. I was blind, but now I see that this is not justice. This will never come true. You will never get reparations. And white folks, don't apologize for being white. I'm not going to apologize for being black. I love my black skin. I own it. I want you to love your white skin and own it too. You did not hold me in captivity. You did not own any slaves. You don't owe me an apology. I don't want your apology. I want the apology from the Democratic Party, because they are the ones that are holding us in captivity right now. It may not be physical chains, but there are mental chains. That, to me, is where reparations should start. If you want reparations, ask it from the Democratic Party and see how fast they walk away from you. Everyone, have a good day.